Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwan, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about Imperial Guard regiments, as we talk about the most requested regiment so far, the Catachan, and with a little special bit at the end. With that said, let's get into 40 facts about the Catachan Jungle Fighters. The Catachan Jungle Fighters are the members of the Imperial Guard regiments that have been recruited from the death world of Catachan. In jungle terrain, they are unsurpassed by nearly any other mortal soldier in the Imperium, with each Catachan fighter being worth 10 soldiers from any other regiment. Common to all soldiers of the Catachan regiments are their red bandanas, which are a symbol of the blood oath that every warrior takes when he joins a regiment, and a steel-alloyed combat knife. A well-honed Catachan combat blade is not only a tool and weapon amongst their soldiers, but also a sign of status. The world of Catachan was colonized by humans millennia ago, during the Dark Age of technology, long before the Imperium of Man was established. When the first exploratory probes arrived in its star system, the planet was a deceptive calm green orb when scrutinized from orbit. But when the first colony ships crash-landed on the jungle planet, and the colonists had no way to escape, they discovered themselves to have arrived on one of the harshest and most dangerous planetary ecosystems in the galaxy. The colonists only barely survived, holed up in their spacecraft against a living, besieging jungle, a battle for survival in which undoubtedly many of them died before they finally managed to learn enough about their new world to survive, if not thrive beneath the jungle canopies. In time, their skill at surviving on Catachan came to the notice of the Departamental Minitorum, which realized that the Catachan would make excellent Imperial Guard troops, dedicated to service in some of the galaxy's most hostile planetary environments, and the first regiment of the Catachan Jungle Fighters were raised. The men and sometimes women who form the regiments of the Catachan jungles are tough, resourceful, and always uncompromising warriors. They excel at fast-moving, close-quarter firefights, infiltration, and sniper work. Every Catachan is a born survivor by definition, and they have been hardened by life on their deadly homeworld to the very core of their beings. These courageous people have endured for millennia one of the most dangerous and perilous ordeals ever known to mankind, simply growing up alive on the planet of their birth. Catachan is classified as a death world, and is perhaps the most notorious of all the known death worlds in the Imperial space. Every native creature is a carnivore, and every form of plant is highly toxic. Catachan is a planet so inimical to human life that every day there plays out a struggle for survival. With such a hideous high mortality rate, only the toughest members of the Catachan population survive into adulthood. Half of the Catachan population dies before they can walk, and another half again perishes before they have seen the age of 10. There are no minerals or other strategic assets present on Catachan, and its people offer only one true source of value to the Imperium: their superb skills as warriors. Catachan warriors readily accept the Imperial Guard's call to arm in the name of the Emperor, and in exchange for this regular tithes of troops, their settlements receive much-needed supplies from the Imperium that would otherwise be impossible to obtain on a world with no industrial base. Catachans take great pride in the fact that their officers, all renowned jungle hunters and skilled warriors, share with their fighters every danger and hardship, just as is common amongst the Death World's jungle settlements. As a result, discipline in the Catachan regiments is maintained more through trust and respect than through the simple fact of rank. The jungle fighter regiments tend to be fiercely independent as a result, and outsiders, particularly authority figures like commissars, can have great difficulty earning the respect of the Catachan troops. Thus, Catachan regiments generally lack imperial commissars. Even these tough and uncompromising officers are unable to assert their authority over Catachan soldiers, who are notoriously disrespectful to any who have not shared the perils of their homeworld. Commissars are generally deeply resented by their troops, and it is not uncommon for commissars assigned to Catachan regiments to be fragged by their own men. It is common for Ogrins, however, to fight in Catachan regiments due to their heavily developed physique. Normal human Catachans are sometimes referred to as baby Ogrins by other Imperial Guardsmen. Catachans have a reputation for reckless bravery that borders on insanity. This is reflected in the dangers that they willingly throw themselves into and their preferred choice of weaponry. Flamers and demolition charges, armaments that can be as dangerous to the user as its intended target. These weapons are commonplace amongst the Catachan regiments, and the specialists who wield them are well known for their claims that such weapons wouldn't dare to harm a Catachan. The Catachan regiments also boast some of the best snipers in the Imperial Guard. Catachan marksmen will take up their position hours or even days before a battle in order to get a better vantage point. These tough, resourceful, and uncompromising warriors excel at fast-moving, close-quarter firefights, infiltration, and sniping. A born survivor, these courageous people have endured growing up on one of the most dangerous and perilous death worlds in the galaxy. Catachans are experts at utilizing booby traps, for in the jungle, even the slightest scratch can prove to be fatal, as neurotoxic bacteria swarms into any open wound and gangrene quickly sets in. Growing up in the harsh environment of the Death World, Catachans take advantage of these harsh conditions by rigging traps from natural materials on the battlefield, such as vines and tree branches. They also use a variety of specially built devices to create devil's gardens, areas where the most innocuous-looking mounds of leaves or tree roots can conceal a shredded mine or plasma charge. These traps can also take the form of deadly falls, spike pits, snares, spring mines, and toe poppers, buried shells set to explode when someone steps upon them. Many new recruits mistakenly believe that the objective of mines and traps is to kill or maim the enemy. This, of course, is only their secondary function, as their primary value is the disrupting and slowing of the enemy's advance into certain areas. After several encounters with booby traps, most enemies are liable to become demoralized, overly cautious, and spread out, leaving them vulnerable to a well-placed ambush. The Catachans do not think highly of medals and other military decorations, and see them as little more than a pretty baubles. They prefer to mark out true achievements by tattoos. Skull motifs are common amongst the Catachan veterans who have served and survived for more than 5 standard years. Dagger symbols are used by those lucky enough to have survived for 10 standard years in the Emperor's service. A highly practical people, Catachans often dull their regimental badges with soot and dirt so as to not reflect light and give away their positions to the enemy, a practice which has often infuriated Imperial Guard officers native to worlds with a more materialistic culture. Catachan tank crews often adorn their vehicles with non-standard stylized decals, kill markings, and unofficial nicknames in addition to the standard Imperial Guard honors and badges. Catachan Sentinel pilots, in particular, are known to personalize and modify their walkers to better suit an individual's particular combat style. Most Catachan warriors eschew the use of Imperial Guard flak armor that they receive as a standard issue because they are often deployed in steaming hot tropical jungle terrain. As a result, Catachan jungle fighters usually prefer to rely on their own mobility and instincts for protection in such dense and hostile terrain. The use of armor would also leave them at great risk of dehydration, which in an alien jungle can be as deadly a killer as any living enemy. As specialists in ambush tactics, the jungle fighters also make notable use of demolition charges and improvised explosives, as well as possessing their own sniper cadre. Their preferred heavy and special weapons are the flamer and heavy bolter, while they will make use of jury-rigged traps, spring mines, shredded mines, and plasma charges to kill different types of enemy troops and other units in carefully prepared ambushes. The most famous member of the Catachans is Sly Marble. Sly Marble is a Catachan guardsman who is feared by all enemies of the Imperium for his skills with a sniper rifle. Even though Sly Marble is a Catachan guardsman, he is not part of any regiment. Sly Marble is also referred to as the one-man army. He has been known to take an entire enemy force and always complete his mission with a victory scream that strikes fear into any whom would threaten Catachan and the Imperium again. Besides his victory scream, Sly Marble is extremely dangerous in combat because of his innate skills in jungle warfare. This is due to the fact that he is a born and bred Catachan native. He strikes from seemingly nowhere, and disappears back into the dense jungle that he calls his home. He is famous for his excellent sniping skills that rivals a Vindicar assassin, and survival skills greater than most Space Marines. Almost nothing is known about Marble's origins, and most of what is just speculation. People say that he was one of 10 brothers inducted into the Catachan 12th Regiment during fighting against Wog Urok on Ryza, where they were all killed. However, tales of a guardsman returning 2 weeks later with the head of an orc war boss began to surface. Since then, the myth of Guardsman Marble has become legendary. On Pardus, it is said that he destroyed an enemy armored convoy by booby-trapping an entire ravine, while on Basque World, he captured a command post single-handedly, slaying the alien leader and all of its tentacled bodyguards. It is said that during the Octavius War, Marble hunted lictors for sport. Marble has a collection of medals that would rival a War Master, having been awarded the Star of Terra multiple times for his legendary exploits. Both inside and outside of battle, Guardsman Marble is a solitary warrior who sticks to the darkness at all time, even when he is receiving orders from a friendly force. He is utterly silent and acknowledges orders with simply a nod, before vanishing once more to find the enemy. By the time Sly Marble's voice is heard by the enemy, it is already too late. The Xenos, traitor, or heretic only has a couple seconds to live before Sly Marble's cunning reaps its reward of enemy lives. Marble is a patient hunter, and will wait in ambush positions for as long as it takes. He is the master of blending into his surroundings and covering any trace of his whereabouts, so that the enemies have no idea where he attacks from. Marble's characteristic weapon is the Ripper Pistol, a weapon firing toxic armored piercing rounds. For a melee weapon, he carries the Envenom Blade, a unique Catachan knife, the blade of which is coated in deadly venom. His character is heavily inspired by the famous fictional character John Rambo, as portrayed by Sylvester Stallone in the 1980s Rambo films. Marble is an anagram for Rambo, while Sly is the nickname of Sylvester after Sylvester Stallone, the actor who portrayed John Rambo. And those were 40 facts about the Catachan. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You got a little extra with the Sly Marble bits. The reason I put that in there is because the actual Sly Marble video is supposed to be an April Fool's joke, so might as well squeeze in the lore of the awesome Sly Marble in here. If you guys have any suggestions for other regiments of the Imperial Guard, please comment down below. Don't forget to put suggestion followed by whatever that regiment may be. And again, guys, thank you for liking, commenting, and sharing. There's going to be a part 2, and we're also going to do a standalone Catachan Planet video. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And again, if you want to support us a little bit more, a simple $1 a month helps us create more videos for you guys. If you can't do that on Patreon, that's fine. Simply by liking, sharing on Twitter or Facebook, wherever you do your social media, it really helps out the channel, and it helps us create more videos for you guys every single day. With that said, I'll see you tomorrow. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.